here's a little something to shake up your afternoon. Let's go. All right, guys, in May this year, news surfaced that movie director Temitope Oshin was filming a new movie, and the buzz was high, and we're like, oh my gosh. Well, we all caught it, and when Banky W put up goofy posts on his Insta story,
yes,
we're like, something's going on here, Amanda.
Yes, we did say so. So a few months down the line, the movie is hitting the cinemas this December, and we are super excited to have lead characters Banky W and Ibrahim Suleiman in the studio.
Hey.
And they'll be making noise. They're actually making a whole lot of noise.
Who is making noise? Please, we are gentlemen.
Guys, it's just that we can't do a close crop on Banky's beard.
It's shiny.
It's shining, and Ibrahim's isn't shining, and he's like, guy, I told you to give me this oil.
And he just...
But I gave you though.
But then I ran out.
He didn't share.
And then you didn't go and buy another one.
You didn't tell me that I could get it here.
Listen, I
In the
can't
average.
hold your hand.
He said it was
this, okay?
this
you
beard
have to
journey.
learn some things.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Okay,
so
sorry, we're back.
I know that Banky, you've been married a little over a year.
Yes.
And Ibrahim, you've been married a little over a month.
Yeah, I have some in my eye. You know, just...
Are you about to
You have
cry?
some
No, just something in my eye.
Oh, he's showing us the ring.
Showing us the ring. Okay, so you're going to give him, before we go further, you're going to give him some advice
Advice.
on what you've learned in a year. And
I give Ibrahim advice all the time. We talk all the time.
my
So
God.
let's
Okay,
hear
well,
it.
let's hear it. Let's hear
General
it.
advice.
Look into his eyes.
General advice. Your wife is always right.
Okay.
Also, your wife will inherit. We were talking about this morning.
Yes. Oh
how
my
wives
gosh.
inherit whatever they want. Perfume, deodorant, t-shirts,
Beard oil.
drivers, human beings.
Wow.
They
It
just
becomes
come for
theirs.
it and it's theirs, and there's
You have to
nothing
be-
you
you
can
have
do
to borrow
about it.
when you want to use
It's not.
it.
You don't. It belongs to them
Yeah,
now.
so you borrow it
Please,
from
can I use my
So I'll
car?
be like, sorry,
This sounds
okay?
like so much
my
fun,
driver.
but
I mean, your driver.
I mean, our driver.
You know,
Wow.
it's fine. It's fine. I'll just drive
I
myself.
really need to ask though, how do you guys cope? I mean, you married best friends.
Yeah, actually.
So
kind
do
of
they,
makes
like,
things easier.
It does?
Yeah.
How?
What do you mean? How do we cope? Like, what do you think that would be a problem?
Because I watched a sneak peek of the new movie Up North, and I saw
Oh,
that
right.
you were checking out Ades.
Oh yes, his
Oh, we're
character.
going to talk about that.
You
So
were
to
talking
be
about-
clear, my character
His
was
character
Okay.
checking
checking
out
out
her character.
Zainab.
Yes.
Okay,
Not
so-
this one.
So how did you feel about that?
I thought it was fun. You know, the thing about acting is, you want to completely get into character.
Yeah.
So when you are on the set, you're actually in the mind of the character
I'm
that
just
you're
looking
in.
at your eyes.
And you were even telling him to check her out.
And I was like,
Yes.
yeah, go and talk to her.
Yeah.
But the real Banky W will be like, if you
Try
try,
yourself.
if you know what is good for you, you better
To be
look
honest,
away.
between each take, we just cracked up.
Yeah, it was
Like
fun.
the laughs on that set were phenomenal. Like,
So did your character ever kiss
You have to watch the film to see
like
that.
can you
Oh,
imagine?
shit.
Watch the film.
Spend
No,
that
no,
money.
please,
Spend the
no.
money.
Go
Go and
see
watch
it
the
in
film.
the cinema. It's around the corner. Don't be
fair.
asking
How many
me. Don't be asking for spoilers.
What's all this?
Okay, guys.
Okay, I'm not saying
So what I
anything
think is interesting about both of you is that I realize that you actually have a lot in common. So your wives are best friends.
Yeah.
And you both have like plenty side hustles.
Yes.
Yes.
Like your bio on Instagram
Is
is
too
ready to
much.
put pastor and like
Yeah.
Architect,
Jesus is command,
architect,
second class,
actor,
but yeah.
voiceover artist. I actually read it.
checked.
Yes.
and then but Banky,
Man in the box too. Guys,
Yes.
he's man in the box.
Man in the box. Yeah.
but
That
Banky,
was
for
dope.
you as well. So the question really is, did you guys set out to have acting as something that would happen along the line, or
Just
was
sort
it
of
just
happened.
was it from the start that you knew? Because for you who recently declared for politics, people are like, so it was a means to an end. All the get your PVC that he was shouting, he said that I can do this one. We've seen your plan. So was it always the plan? And of course, for you as well, was it always the plan that you would go into acting? So that's really the question.
I'll let you go first.
No, it wasn't the plan at all. To be honest, I basically, some of the best things that happen in life, you don't make them happen sometimes. They happen to you.
Yeah.
And for me, it was an opportunity that popped up, and I basically just went along, and it was supposed to be for 3 months, to be honest.
And it
It was
became-
just something I needed to do to get my mind off other things, and then it became the thing on my mind.
And you met your wife there.
Well, so
Yes.
yeah,
You're touching
well,
the
yes,
onions
yes,
again.
yes,
Okay.
yeah, just a little something in my eye.
For me, it actually was part of the plan. So when I was a kid,
Okay.
everything that I'm
What was
doing now,
politics or acting?
acting.
Okay.
So everything that I'm doing now, aside from politics, the acting, the singing, the filmmaking, the public speaking, all of those things were things that I fell in love with as a child. And so as I grew up, the people that I looked up to were people that did multiple things. So I liked musicians, but Jay-Z was my favorite, not just because of the music, but because he built a company and
Yeah.
he was an investor and a businessman, and he was in theater and in sports and all of these
Beyonce
things.
too.
And well, that helps. But the people that I've looked up to, even in the music business, are people that have multiple side hustles going on. And that reminds me, because when I was a kid, I'm a Christian, and my favorite scripture, one of my favorite scriptures in the Bible, was the one about the talents. And the guy with 10 talents went out and used them and came back with 10 more. And then the guy with 5 did 5 more. And the guy with 1 came back with just what he was given. And that always told me that being mediocre and settling for what you've been given is failure in and of itself. You have to push for more. You have to grow. You have to expand. You have to try to do more things. Then as far as politics goes, honestly, it wasn't. I saw myself more as a Martin Luther King, as in a voice that inspires politics. Wait, no. What I mean is, wait now, sister. I meant that I saw myself as somebody who would use their platform and their voice to influence it, rather than being involved. But then I started looking and I said, part of the problem is that we've been looking for everybody else instead of doing it ourselves. That's why we're here. We're talking about how dirty and dangerous and bad politics is off camera. Well, it is, because no good people ever touch it. So we sit back and we complain about governance, but we don't want to get involved in it ourselves. So who exactly are we waiting for? And I had that conversation with myself, and I said, you know what? If nobody else understands that we have to get into this thing to fix it and to build it, then maybe I'm the one that's going to start it.
And for people saying that it was always the plan, that was why you were doing PVC, what do you have to say to that?
No, obviously, if it was the plan, if you know how expensive politics is,
Bruh.
I would have started, I would have started like 3 years ago, taking meeting, fundraising, because it is the most expensive, stressful, difficult journey that I've ever embarked on. But I feel like I want to inspire our generation to understand that we have to care about these things. And we're the ones that we have been waiting for to fix it. So that makes it worth it.
I understand you have been doing this for 1 month.
Yes, 1 month as a politician.
So how's the 1 month been?
Hectic. Hectic, but also very fulfilling. It's been very fulfilling. I'm meeting more people than I've ever met.
Wow.
I'm getting to engage with my community. I'm sharing ideas. I'm learning a lot. I'm learning about people. I'm learning about myself. I'm learning about Nigeria. I'm learning about my community. It's been hectic, but it's also been probably one of the most rewarding journeys that I've ever embarked on.
Ibrahim, are you inspired to go into politics?
I'm inspired.
Well,
as he's saying, he's tweeting you.
No, he's like, okay, so a couple of weeks ago, I put out a tweet and I said that you only really speak for people that you know. So I'm going to stick my neck out, because on Twitter, I'm always telling people that, look, all of you just come here and put your selfish interests forward and push people that are paying you for something. And I get a lot of flack for it, and I don't care. But so for the first time ever, I go on Twitter and I say, look, this is the person, and I'm saying this because I have lived with this guy. We have spent a lot of time together, and even before he ever told me about running for office, we had talked about. I've seen him, be like, why is that guy sitting over there? Why doesn't he have something to eat like everybody else? And then the passerby on set is like, why can't we give him something to eat? And then we actually split, whatever it is that we're supposed to have for lunch with people who are walking by. So I'm like, if he can do that.
And this was even before you knew that he wanted to.
I had no clue, So the time we spent in Bauchi really gave me a new perspective of Banky.
Okay, guys. So here's what we're going to do.
I'm a little emotional, right? Cut to commercial.
Yes, we actually are about to. So, guys,
it feels like Christmas here in the studio, and yes, it does feel like Christmas. And guys, we still have Banky W and Ibrahim Suleiman in here in the studio with us. So we're going to talk about Up North right now. So when you guys got the script, what was your first reaction towards it? When you saw the script and you saw that
you're going to Bauchi?
You're going to Bauchi.
So the thing about it is they were actually trying to get me to do the script for 3 months, to do the movie for over 3 months.
Wow.
Because they didn't send me the script. So they were trying to convince me, that they're working on this thing. I said, okay, send me the script. They said, it's not ready. I said, okay, tell me about it. They said, you go to Bauchi. I was like, yeah, no, it's okay, I'm good.
The end.
So they kept trying to talk me into this. And then 3 months later, Eddie T, the main executive producer, called me and said, let's have a meeting. And we spoke for an hour and a half. I said, bros, where is the script? That you have been talking to me about this thing for 3 months. I've still not seen it. I said, let me read it. And the minute I read it, I knew instantly that this was a film that had to be made and that I had to be involved.
Wow.
So I went from saying, I don't want to do it, to saying, please, I also want to be an executive producer along with being a lead actor. And so I ended up being involved on a much bigger scale because the script is brilliant. it's one of the most brilliant things I've ever. I mean, what do you think?
I agree, totally.
So what was your experience like? I mean, shooting for 3 weeks in Bauchi. Was that your first time in Bauchi?
No, actually.
No?
Yes, for me.
No.
Yes,
yes
for
for
you.
him,
Yes,
but
for
no
No,
for
for
me.
you.
Because I was born in the north, so I'd done quite a bit of roaming around when I was
Do
younger.
you speak a bit of?
Yeah, I do.
Of
So wait,
Speak
wait.
Hausa well. Yeah.
Oh, speak
So
for
wait,
us now.
okay, now.
Why do people do that?
Yeah, you should.
Say something.
Say something about
Something.
Entertainment Splash.
No.
Let's
Wow.
check that. Let's confirm this thing that you're saying. Do you really speak it?
Yeah, I guess I
let's
get
say
by.
it.
I get by.
You get by.
I get by.
Because they're saying Merry
Because I'm
Christmas
a
or
very,
something.
Give them
very.
something.
Give us something.
How would we even know if it's not our business?
Who else? Who else?
We will
speaks
let your
Hausa here?
viewers
I'm sure.
tell you in
Wow,
Twitter.
this long.
Me Sunanki.
Being Sunaki.
Me Sunanki.
That's
What
how
does it
you
mean?
right?
What's your name?
Oh,
Oh, okay. My name is Amanda.
You see as it's smiling?
no, Sunana Amanda, right?
Yes.
Sunana Amanda.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Ah, look at you! Look at you! Put it there, put it there.
They don't know. Okay, so in the clip we checked out before we came back, so you were toasting Banky's Bay in real life, but in the
Yes.
film it's your Bay, and then he was trying to get you to go over,
Yeah.
and you said that's not how we do things here.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, for someone who grew up in the north, why did you say that?
Okay, so there's a structure, you know, in the lifestyle culture, basically,
Right.
and it is not approved of to walk up to a young girl and just tell her how you feel. It's not. There are processes. You know, you have to either get one of her brothers involved, then he gets his auntie or something.
I have read
you
that
can't just, you know, show up and be like, how fun, how you doing? You can't just do
Doesn't work
that.
like
It
that.
doesn't work like that. And then to make it worse, she's actually having a conversation with her father at the time. So it's disrespectful.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Okay.
But I did see something on Instagram, and you mentioned about Adesua kind of teaching you some things about acting.
Oh yeah, this was my acting coach.
Same
Like
with
this,
you.
straight
Same
up.
for
This
you?
was my, like,
Yeah, the Homa is also my acting coach.
when
like
I
real
have
talk.
a role,
What's going on in
I
here?
read my scenes with her the night before. I go and say, oh, this
And then
is
how
what I'm
does she,
thinking. Then
like,
she
coach
says, okay,
you?
this is good, or maybe you can change that. Like this was my
Add
acting
more
coach.
emotions.
I'm listening.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
I need to.
Take your pauses, baby. Take your pauses.
Wow, okay, take
Shamelessly,
your
this
body.
was my acting coach.
Roma is your own
Yeah.
too.
Straight.
Because the
are
first scene.
proud.
No, it's not. No, this is us being humble. To be fair,
Oh,
Give us
shit.
some props. No?
Because
Give it
we'll
credit.
be claiming like we're doing
you know, I
all of
sabi now.
it.
Well, they do say that behind every great man.
Beside.
Is it? Oh, is it
beside
beside?
now.
Oh, it's beside
beside
now.
now.
Oh, okay, look at all
Yes,
this
yes,
female
yes,
empowerment
yes.
stuff.
You know, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Beside, yeah.
Okay, so speaking of wives, so Banky, I know someone who wanted me to ask you a question.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's up?
It's like,
No, I
why-
can't take a second wife.
No, no.
That's not the question.
Somebody tweeted that yesterday.
After the movie,
I had a movie in another interview. Like, oh, if you are looking for a second, I said, please, I'm a
What?
Christian.
No,
I'm not
that's-
allowed.
that's-
Wow.
So,
No,
God bless
don't
you.
do
No,
that.
we're not trying to do that.
But because, so what she wanted me to ask you was, Banky and Adesua are like so, you know, out there on social media with their love. I just hope nothing happens. And also, how do you feel about people saying, you know, people say, you know, keep for celebrities, you have to make an extra effort to keep your
Your
love,
relationship private.
So what do you,
Yes.
and I'm going to ask you that because
Yeah.
you guys, your weddings
At this-
both went
oh,
viral.
breaking
so-
the internet.
Yeah, so let's
Fire.
go with
Well,
this
I
first.
can answer that a couple of ways.
Okay.
Number one, I think that you should keep your private life private. And I think that what people don't realize is that probably what they've been privileged to see, or what they've been able to see, not privileged, what they've been able to see is maybe 5 or 10% of what actually happens. So my wife and I are very involved in each other's lives, and we're very into that. I think also that marriage is something to be celebrated. Relationships, you know, all it is two people just trying to work through life together. Nobody's perfect, but you just want to find somebody that's worth trying for and build with that person and work for that
You're actually a
person.
motivational speaker. I
And
want to
so-
cry. Like, I'm like,
And
yes.
so for me, I think that it's a good thing for people to see two people that have made that decision and are trying to make it work.
I
That's
agree.
something that should be celebrated. That's something that people should encourage. I mean, we have enough things on television
Yeah.
encouraging just
Do anyhow.
do anyhow, you know, run up on the girl, you know,
Oladele,
do
was
this,
that
do
you
that.
or your friend that wanted to ask that
No,
question?
that wasn't me. It wasn't
Was
me.
it
So-
you?
so
Don't
I-
worry yourself.
so I-
Don't
you
worry
know-
I
yourself.
do have a personal question. Now
All
that I've
right.
seen you face to face, I wanted to ask why you had like 5 weddings.
Oh no, I didn't have 5. See, you know, here's the funny thing about that.
So it's rude.
Here's the funny thing about that. I think that with us, I don't think it's rude actually, because people are under that impression. But all we had was an intro, a
Okay.
trad, and a white wedding, which is typical.
You sure?
Yes, 100%. But it's just that there was a lot of attention that came with it.
yeah.
So the intro traveled
Was
everywhere
like
like
the
it was
wedding,
a
oh,
wedding,
yeah.
but it was meant to be just an introduction for family, close families and friends. The traditional was probably the biggest, what that we did in Lagos was probably the biggest ceremony because you need to do something for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
But the white wedding, there were less than 300 people at our white wedding. It was 260.
Yeah, 300 people in person and like 2 million on social
But
media.
I mean, we can't control
Wow.
that.
It
And
was
but
beautiful. I'm just
here's
joking.
what it is. I think that people were inspired to just see a true life love story. And I think the world needs more love stories. So it's fine. So if people wanted to share in our joy, so be it. And that's honestly why we agreed for them to film it. Because we're like, it's going to go out anyway.
Yeah.
You might as well just capture it and share the moment with people who need that inspiration. Yeah.
Okay, so Ibrahim, so yesterday we had Unlimited LA here, and we're asking what the next level for a music video director is. You know, is it that you want to go into documentaries and all that? So I'm curious about you as an actor, especially knowing that this is something that was supposed to be short term and then it became a long term thing. What is the next level for you? When would you be able to be like, okay, as an actor, I've made it?
Or is acting the next level for you?
Well, the truth of the matter is, I actually wanted to go into film as a writer.
Okay.
So it's one of the things that, because from when I was really young, I was always fascinated by the people who came up with the stories that we saw on TV. So I wanted to be a writer. And then Ihoma convinced me that, you know what, know what it feels like, my wife.
Nicely done. Nicely done. Nicely done. It was just,
Please
So
allow me to talk. I'm blushing. Okay.
Go on.
Oh, so cute.
You guys.
Are you going to cry?
So, no,
Okay.
no.
That'll be good TV.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We'll zoom in on the drop.
We'll take
plan
it
it.
next time.
Oh, yeah, no, I like
So
go on.
she said, you know what, maybe you should understand what it feels like to be an actor and convey someone else's story. So when you start to write your own stories, it's easier to get the actor's input when you're creating, you know, your stories. So like, oh, that's a nice idea. She scammed me.
So are you going to go back to writing?
Yes, that's one of the things I'd love to do. And I would like to go to school and, you know, learn how to direct.
That's awesome.
But what about your art?
So CQ art is, it's probably the most personal thing of all the creative things that I put outside.
So cool.
And thank you so much.
It really is.
It
And-
really
So
is.
do you I know I've seen like some
I
painting,
don't think it's
but
like
I like see
manual.
Please
Okay, so
explain all that.
here's the thing. When I lived in Abuja, I had space. You know, so I had studio space in my house. And it's important when you have studio space to have as many windows as possible so you have natural lighting, natural air. And in Lagos, I just couldn't find a place that could, you know, give me that sort of space. So I struggled with it for a bit, and then one day someone showed me something that his brother had painted. And I was like, oh, I like this, the texture is different. And he said, oh, it's digital. I was like, wait, what? He said, it's digital. I was like, okay, that's interesting. And then some time later, I stumbled upon a couple of apps. I was like, okay, you know, let's just try this. And then, like, you know, I started on my mobile device. You know, it comes with a stylus, comes with a stylus, and I realized that I could do almost everything that I could do in a physical studio on my mobile device. So now I can be on waiting for a plane, trying to catch a flight. Sorry.
Thank you.
So I could be trying to catch a flight, and I could be at the same time finishing up a painting that, you know, I'm working on. So
is that really private, or are you planning to sell it?
So funny enough,
Bless
sorry,
you.
Don.
Again.
Wow,
okay.
the
Sorry.
enemy.
Okay.
Come out of her!
Let's pray.
Wow.
So while we're in Bauchi, Banky and I had a conversation, and you know, that was the first time he even knew that, you know, it was something that I did regularly. He thought it was just something I did once in a while. And he was like, why? You should put this out there. And I'm like, I'm too shy. I was like, no, never be shy. You need
Always
to.
motivated.
And you now squint his eyes.
It's true.
He was
He
squinting
does that
his
when he squints and he's talking to you, and you're just feeling like it's inside your chest. So he's like, no, you need to, you know, put this out there more often. So then I showed him my art page, and he was like, why is this separate from your, you know, main page? I was like, because I wanted a situation where if I post stuff and people be like, this is trash, it's not connected directly to me. Like, I'm being honest, so I can just deny. You know, and then he's like, no, your work is great, you know. So I'm applying towards an exhibition next year.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that you guys can show up.
Yes, we will.
Okay.
We will.
Okay.
I just have one last question for you before you play a game.
Amanda.
Man in the box.
Yes,
I
that's
want to
right.
ask, like, how did that feel for you? Did you get like hit on because of it, or what was that experience? How did you even stay in a box for hours?
I think one of the reasons why I did that is because I enjoy new challenges. So when I was first approached to do it, I thought to myself, okay, this is not a bad idea. But then I asked them, how am I going to feed? And then they're like, oh, we'll sort that out. So every morning at
They'll bring
2
food
a.m.,
for you.
the caterers will show up and then they'll put stuff in the
Wow.
refrigerator. And then I had my microwave oven. So whenever I was hungry, you just heat it up, eat.
Okay.
And then I had my convenience section where I could handle my business,
In the box.
do it 10 to.
Okay. So we're supposed to play a game. Yes.
They didn't tell me this. in
I
the
just
brief.
understand. This brief did not reach us.
So here's
This was
what
not
we're
in the brief.
So what we're
Hello,
gonna
where are my media people?
do- You've already answered this one. So guys, I think that we should take a break first, actually, and then when we come back, we'll maybe take 1 or 2 calls, and we'll play a game with these gentlemen. Let's go.
Objection.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a bit.
Welcome back, guys, and we said that we're going to play a game with Banky W and Ibrahim. So now the game is called Finish the Lyrics, and you have to pick from 1 to 3, and then you're going to play a... No.
No, don't worry. You want to be funny? We have
No.
Just jokes.
So we'll pick from 1 to... what's going on in this corner of the room?
Sorry.
So you want 5?
No.
1 to 3, which one? 3.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to play a song, and you finish the lyrics.
All right, go ahead.
So we'll do Banky first, and then we'll do Ibrahim and Banky.
Oh my God.
So 3, yeah?
I know the song, but I don't know the lyrics.
Wafemi.
Up north winning.
Up not.
All right, so another number.
No, it's Ibrahim's turn.
Okay,
He helped him.
No, I just helped him.
helping me.
White
I said
team.
team.
White team.
No,
Please,
no
sister,
second
White
point.
team. Do you understand?
Okay.
Team.
Oh, yeah, pick a
Good.
number.
1.
1. All right, number 1.
Wait on. All the best. You think you're cool, yeah? Wait on.
We want to change our number.
Please, we want to change our number. What?
Please listen, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yeba.
Because every Nigerian song is
And hey.
wow.
Wow,
No, I think
Banky.
it's...
So one more. We have
Mama,
one.
Jacka.
You have done 3.
Yeah.
2. Number 1.
No, we just did 1.
Number 2 then.
2. I played 2.
Number 2, guys.
You two, you can help us with it.
Yeah.
No, Ibrahim will do this one.
No, it's a lie.
Let's
It's a
set
lie.
you up.
What's all this?
Maybe we can be friends.
They were done. What win?
Yeah,
My man.
that's it.
Bonus!
No bonus. No bonus. Outro.
DJ, one more.
Outro. Cut to commercial. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you so much for
guys are
coming. You guys are fun. Like,
Thank you. You guys are fun.
Crazy. Oh my goodness. Thank you guys so much for coming. I know you have to run.
Yes.
yes.
I think we should keep Ibrahim.
I don't mind. No.
Wow.
You see on mine?
He has to run. He has to run.
Well, yes, he has to run.
Thank you guys so much for coming on the show. All right, guys. Well, we have to let them go, but we're still here, and we'll not be out of the faces just yet. But we have to let them go. So thanks for coming.
Thanks for having
All the
us.
best. We
Cheers.
hope 2019.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you,
you.
Amanda.
Good
All right.
to see you.
Nice to see you.
Up north, December 28th.
Be there, watch everything.
It's okay.
And see. We want everybody to come and watch our film.
Well,
In it.
Are we invited?
Are we good?
Private screening.
Are we good?
Are we good? Are we
All right.
All right.